Hey, baby. Canelo says all that ish Caleb Plant talked now is personal. We gonna talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Listen, I don't know how you found the video, but somehow, someway you made it. You've arrived at the content. Reach one, teach one. Help others find my content on this beautiful platform, YouTube, by throwing a like on the video. It goes a long way, and it does encourage and help others find the same content that you found. Now, let's talk about it. Canelo Alvarez, I want to read some quotes, and this is what he says. Canelo, referring to his upcoming fight with Caleb Plant, says, quote, all that talk, all the ish that Caleb Plant says, that's why it's personal. Caleb Plant, he crossed the line and maybe too much. That's why it's personal. At the same time, it's one of the most important fights for me. Canelo continues by saying, they know what I'm going to do in the ring, even more so in this fight. In my mind, I have this special thing, and it's going to be a really good night for us. So make sure you guys check out episode 1 and 2. Showtime did a hell of a job for the build-up in terms of that series, the All Access series. Barry Pepper, good stuff. Now, I'm not understanding fully why Canelo is saying these things, and I'm going to explain in this video. The thing I don't understand is, what did Caleb Plant say that got Canelo so mad? Because Canelo said in so many interviews that Caleb Plant crossed the line. He crossed the line. He says something that's regrettable, and he talks this ish. Now, I feel like this society has a lot of things that are kind of misconstrued, if you will. For example, nowadays, if you tell the truth, people say you're hating. Like, oh, you're a hater. All you do is hate. You're hating on blah, 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 right? And that's kind of the same situation when it comes to Canelo versus Caleb Plant. He's saying that Canelo is saying that Caleb Plant is talking ish and he crossed the line. But what did he say? Because the only thing that I can think of that Caleb Plant really said that would have triggered Canelo is the stuff where he talked about Canelo's team and his camp failing drug tests. And that's actually a reality. That's not talking ish. Canelo, whether he has an excuse for it or not, he did test positive on February 17th and February 20th for clenbuterol. That's not a rumor. That's not a myth. Now he can try to excuse it and say his justification for why it was in his system, but at the end of the day, he failed a test. That's just the reality of it. And same thing with Oscar Valdez more recently. Oscar Valdez and other people in Canelo's camp and Eddie Reynoso's camp and gym. So it does raise eyebrows, so to speak. So I'm not really understanding this whole thing. He talked ish, and he crossed the line. I think Canelo, I've said this for a while, I think Canelo is a diva, and he's a great fighter, but I think he's a diva, and he feels he's worked that hard, which he has. He has worked hard, he's disciplined, he's a terrific fighter, great resume, stuff like that. So he's not used to somebody confronting him and being so rah, rah, rah in your face, but he met this country boy from Tennessee who really don't care and is not acting starstruck. And I think more than he crossed the line, because he didn't really cross the line. Me crossing the line was when you demean or slander somebody. Like what you're saying is falsehoods. When you're saying different things and it's slanderous in nature. Canelo failed the test. People in his camp have failed the test. And that's predominantly what I heard Caleb Plant saying. So I don't really understand this whole cross the line. And I really don't want to split hairs with the cuss word MFer. You know, Canelo saying it means something so different in Mexico, which is BS, because I know plenty of people from Mexico and they use the word. Canelo himself uses the word, right? He said it after the Danny Jacobs weigh-in, right? He said it in Spanish. He used it for Demetrius Andrade when Andrade pulled up on him after the Billy Joe Saunders win. So I think Canelo, he got emotional in that given situation, and then the little scuffle broke out. He mushed the glasses and the glass broke into Caleb Plant's cheek or whatever and cut him, and Caleb slapped him, and it was that little melee. And Canelo had to then justify why he was seemingly out of character and got emotional in that given moment and actually resorted to putting his hands on Caleb Plant by pushing him, which has been, see, and here's the other thing. This is the duality. I know people that know Canelo. I believe that Canelo, this English speaking Canelo that's more badass and more uncut, I think that's the real Canelo. That's how Canelo's always been. But for whatever reason, he wasn't comfortable speaking English and doing interviews in English and things of that sort. So a lot of people, if you don't speak Spanish, and even when he did in Spanish, his interviews in Spanish, he didn't really show all sides of him, in my opinion. He was just more professional and answered the questions and that kind of thing. But I think he's loosening up for whatever reason. Maybe he's just getting at an age, he's been in the game so long, and now he has the bilingual thing. So he's just at a point where he maybe doesn't care and he just wants to, you know, sell the fight. I don't know why he's showing more of his personality, but he's doing that. And he's doing other different things. So some of it is good. Like before Canelo, he didn't want his kids on camera and things like that. But now he's showing that near and dear side of him on the All Access, and it's making for good programming. But nonetheless, I think that's what it is. I think the fact that Caleb Plant is chastising Canelo, who in my opinion is a diva and has this almost omnipotent attitude where he's like, man, I work hard, I'm the face of boxing, this is my era, me era, and all this stuff, and he's not used to it. He's not used, it's like, I'm not gonna say Canelo's a bully, but it's similar to the classic tale of a bully, and then this bully always steals the smaller kid's lunch, and then when your ribs is touching and that smaller kid, one day it's pizza day and he's like, nah, I'm starving, you can't get this lunch money, and the bully tries to intimidate him, and then the smaller kid punches the bully. The bully is typically not ready for that. The bully, and you see in those videos and stuff, the bully is not used to that. He's not used to anyone. He just has this intimidation factor. And now I'm not gonna say Canelo is a bully, but Canelo has the superstar, quote, superstar intimidation factor, where people know he's like Mariah Carey in the 90s or Beyonce in the 2000s. He's the superstar of boxing. So it seems more people than not have been a bit starstruck when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, and those people have paid him the utmost respect and kept it all the way professional. For example, Oscar De La Hoya, his former promoter, he had to face guys like Ricardo Mayorga. Ricardo Mayorga was taunting Oscar De La Hoya. If you watch the programming and stuff, he was saying Oscar De La Hoya is soft and Oscar De La Hoya is this, and he likes to play with Barbie dolls, and he was saying, he was talking crazy. You know, Floyd Mayweather, he did the same thing. Floyd Mayweather got under Oscar's skin. You could literally, when they panned the camera to Oscar De La Hoya, you could literally see De La Hoya's face, and he's looking so mad because Floyd Mayweather's like, oh, Oscar, you a man, he want to say ish and uck like me. He want to cuss like me, but he the go-to boy, so he gotta act his way. Man, I'm gonna go run right now. Oscar De La Hoya, he ain't ish. And Floyd was in his bag, and he was pulling out chickens at the press conference and things like that. And Oscar De La Hoya was trying to play this golden boy role where he's like clean cut, even though he has demons and you know, substance abuse and stuff we later found out about. He wanted to keep his image squeaky clean. And the point I'm making is this: De La Hoya at least had to fight those people like the Mayorgas who were gonna get in your face and be brash and trash talk, and Floyd Mayweather and, you know, things like that. Canelo Alvarez, if we really look through his chronological history of fights, I can't think of somebody that really was in Canelo's face similar to Mayorga versus De La Hoya, similar to the Floyd Mayweather fight where he pulling out chickens and on the all access going in on Oscar De La Hoya, getting under his skin. We haven't really seen that, you know. More recently, Josue Vargas, we seen that with him versus Zepeda. Josue Vargas was all in Zepeda's face. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work out for him, and he got knocked out in the first round. But the moral of the story is Canelo is such a decorated and respected fighter. I don't think he's used to anybody calling him out on any of his stuff like, hey, you failed a test. Because Triple G did a little bit and he didn't like it and he got mad. But Caleb Plant got that American pizzazz where he's gonna ish talk. He's gonna talk his ish and stand his ground. And that is what I think is bothering Canelo, his ego and his pride, more than what he's saying, because what he's saying is actually fact. You do have these situational things where VADA fails in your camp. So I think he's mad that Caleb Plant is basically exposing him, putting him on Front Street, making his gym hot and things like that. And that's what he can't take, more so than he's talking ish. Like, what is talking ish when it's true, you know? It's like if you go to a doctor and then they check you for an STD and then they say you have one, is the doctor talking ish or is he telling you a clinical diagnosis? What Caleb Plant said is in history. We can see it, whether people have excuses for why it happened and how it happened and all that. That's what happened. So, you know, I don't think Canelo likes that and appreciates that. So we'll see how it plays out in the fight. Caleb Plant is trying something new. We'll see if it works for him. Let me know how I did in this video. Subscribe if you like the content. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe to this video's ego sign up. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.